Hello. Jordan Sheridan here on a Friday, day after Thanksgiving. Everybody might be a little tired. I sure am. A little bloated still from dinner. Still getting over the fight you got into with your Republican uncle or your neoliberal aunt. And just going through your leftovers. I wanted to go live. I wasn't sure I was going to go live today because it is still kind of the holiday, but I think you have to because there's a catastrophic new climate change report that just came out. Of course, the Trump administration buried it on a Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, probably because it is dire and they want as little attention on it as possible. And of course, from switching back and forth between MSNBC and CNN, they're not really covering the story like it should be covered, because if you read the story, if you read the report, I haven't read the whole thing, but if you read it, it is pretty dire, both for just human life, as far as people dying in the next 80 years, and the U.S. economy and the havoc that will be done to our economy. So I'm going to go through that report. Again, it is Friday, day after Thanksgiving. I'm not sure we're going to have a big audience, but we'll see. Press the share button anyway. Let's get this out to as many people as possible. Of course, this is a super chat. So if you're feeling a little super after Thanksgiving, I hope you'll contribute. It's Black Friday, but I don't have any deals for you. I'm not exactly in the position to give discounts at the moment. So definitely hope you could share this video. And if you got a few bucks, feel free to contribute. And as a reminder, we are still pushing the Status Coup GoFundMe, which is at $21,674 as we speak. And we just passed 350 people contributing. So that's 351 people have contributed in the last 2 months. And we're headed towards 22,000. And this Sunday, like the previous Sundays, I will be doing a live stream marathon. Super Chat Sunday Marathon, starting at noon Eastern. The first time we did this, I was live for 7.5 hours. I don't know how long I'll be live this Sunday. Could be few hours, could be 7 hours, could be 10 hours. Depends how many people show up to watch, and obviously how much we fundraise. The goal of these Sunday Super Chat / GoFundMe marathons is to fundraise for Status Coup and get the company and our resources growing. So look forward to that. I hope you could join us. And if you can't, you don't have to join us for the whole thing. You know, some people have lives outside. I don't, but some people do. But I hope you could pop in just even for a little bit. So. Yeah, this new climate change report that was just dropped in like at 3 o'clock on the Friday after Thanksgiving, pretty much the headline should say the beginning of the end. This from the New York Times. The headline they chose, U.S. Climate Report warns of damaged environment and shrinking economy. So you read that, and it doesn't sound like so catastrophic, but again, the New York Times, which its largest shareholder is Carlos Slim, a oil billionaire from Mexico, might not be in their best interest to make it so dire. Would it be? And the New York Times, which also co-hosted an oil and money conference a few weeks ago, maybe it's not in their interest to actually report how dire this actually is. But let's go through. A major scientific report issued by 13 federal agencies on Friday presents the starkest warnings to date of the consequences of climate change for the United States, predicting that if significant steps are not taken to rein in global warming, the damage will knock as much as 10% off the size of the American economy by century's end. The report, which was mandated by Congress and made public by the White House, is notable not only for the precision of its calculations and bluntness of its conclusions, but also because its findings are directly at odds with President Trump's agenda of environmental deregulation, which he asserts will spur economic growth, even if it kills us. Mr. Trump has been taking aggressive steps, blah, 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 blah. I'm gonna skip over that part and get to the meat of it. In direct language, the 1,656-page assessment lays out the devastating effects of a changing climate on the economy, health, and environment, including record wildfires in California, crop failures in the Midwest, and crumbling infrastructure in the South. Going forward, American exports and supply chains could be disrupted. Agricultural yields could fall to 1980s levels by mid-century, and fire season could spread to the southeast, the reports find. Quote, there is a bizarre contrast between this report, which is being released by this administration, and this administration's own policies, said Philip B. Duffy, president of the Woods Hole Research Center. All told, the report says climate change could slash up to a tenth of gross domestic product by 2100, more than double the losses of the Great Recession a decade ago. Scientists who worked on this report, by the way, it was 13 federal agencies that worked on this report. Scientists who worked on this report said it did not appear that administration officials had tried to alter or suppress its findings. However, several noted that the timing of its release at 2 p.m. the day after Thanksgiving appeared designed to minimize its public impact. And the media is certainly going to play into it because they're not going to cover it. Still, the report could become a powerful legal tool for opponents of Mr. Trump's efforts to dismantle climate change policy, experts said. Quote, this report will weaken the Trump administration's legal case for undoing climate change regulations, and it strengthens the hand of those who go to court to fight them, said Michael Oppenheimer, a professor of geosciences and international affairs at Princeton. The report is a second volume of the National Climate Assessment, which the federal government is required by law to produce every 4 years. The first volume was issued by the White House last year. The reports put the most precise price tags to date on the costs to the United States economy of projected climate impacts. $141 billion from heat-related deaths, $118 billion from sea level rise, and $32 billion from infrastructure damage by the end of the century. And by the way, look at this sentence. $141 billion from heat-related deaths. Who the hell knows how many heat-related deaths we will have? 118 from sea level rise. Who the hell knows how many hurricanes and extreme storms we're going to have that have been killing more people? And 32 billion from infrastructure damage. Who the hell knows how many people are going to die as a result of that infrastructure damage? The findings come a month after the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, a group of scientists convened by the United Nations, issued its most alarming and specific report to date about the severe economic and humanitarian crisis expected to hit the world by 2040. But the new report also emphasizes the outcomes depend on how swiftly and decisively the U.S. and other countries take action to mitigate global warming. The authors put forth three main solutions: putting a price on greenhouse gas emissions, which usually means imposing taxes or fees on companies that release carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, establishing government regulations on how much greenhouse gases can be polluted or emitted, and spending public money on clean energy research. Spokesmen for the White House and EPA did not respond. The report covers every single region of the U.S. and asserts that recent climate-related events are signs of things to come. No area of the country will be untouched, from the Southwest, where droughts will curb hydropower and tax already limited water supplies, to Alaska, where the loss of sea ice will cause coastal flooding and erosion and force communities to relocate to Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, where salt water will taint drinking water. Jesus. More people will die as heat waves become more common, the scientists say, and a hotter climate will also lead to more outbreaks of disease. Two areas of impact particularly stand out: trade and agriculture. So, before I read on, that sounds pretty serious. That sounds pretty catastrophic. That sounds, I think, like action needs to be taken beyond a select committee. Thank you, Rob Illinois, $1.99 in the super chat. Keep up the good work and calling out hypocrisy. I shall. You know, I support Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but if this report doesn't show you, we're long past, a select committee is what she's calling for. We don't need a committee. A committee is a bureaucratic tool. Yes, you could propose legislation in a committee, but right now, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, progressives, and frankly, even centrist Democrats need to wake the hell up and realize even the money won't survive this. You know, the global elites and the bourgeoisie and the capitalistic, totalitarianist capitalism we have in this country, which Chris Hedges talks about, you can't survive increasing heat waves that kill people, especially people with weak immune systems. We're not going to be able to survive, if you have 7 to 8 hurricanes this season, 20 to 25 as we go. The drought and infrastructure crumbling. At a certain point, I am not for armed revolution in any circumstances, but at a certain point, committees, it is so past the need for a committee. We need an immediate ban on fracking. We need an immediate shift to clean energy, wind, solar, hydropower. We need an immediate tax and a hefty tax on companies emitting carbon dioxide, as well as methane. I think we should ban fracking, but at least tax these fossil fuel companies. And to people, Dr. Winston, if you think global warming is bullshit, well, go move to Puerto Rico, go move to the Virgin Islands, go move to California right now, because you're a fucking idiot if that's what you think. Sorry. Stephen Carl says, general strikes are the only nonviolent way to approach that, Jordan. I couldn't agree more. And honestly, a big part of what needs to be striked is CNN's headquarters, MSNBC's headquarters, the New York Times headquarters, all of these headquarters. Because the media is the one covering this up. Yes, I read this from the New York Times, but I can promise you they're not going to have a lot of follow-up on this. They're not going to be challenging politicians that take money from fossil fuel companies. No. And you're right. There's also the food industry. Meat is a big, big contributor to climate change. So we need to curb our nutritional system as well. Also, animal agriculture. Glenn Greenwald has done stuff on this, and others have done stuff on. They have these basically factories. The way they kill animals is an extreme contributor to the carbon dioxide being emitted. But this is beyond the committee. There needs to be protests in the street, protests outside the media, protests outside Congress, protests outside the White House. I'm talking Occupy Wall Street, level. Because they say vote like your life is on the line. Your life is on the line. Because the New York Times story doesn't say it, and I'm sure somewhere in the report, it's a 1,600-page report, so I haven't read it yet. The death count is not going to be like 5 or 6 people, folks. Yes, Mr. Black, I am on. And remember, this is a super chat. I'm coming to you after Thanksgiving, so if you're feeling super, let me know. This is also our GoFundMe. Every day we're trying to grow this GoFundMe, so keep the love coming. Got 351 people contributing. I would love to get back in the field and cover these pipelines, cover these dirty, dirty fossil fuel companies basically threatening to kill you. That's what this report shows, that these fossil fuel companies are killing you. And they don't care. Because, honestly, the worst of it, they'll be dead when the worst of it happens. Because they're all old, greedy, rich fucks. That's the truth. It's scary, folks. It is scary. Rob says, to think global warming is not real is stupid. Just like fueling a fire continuously will keep a fire going is the same as emitting carbon into the air. is the fuel to trap heat into the atmosphere. Yeah, Rob, honestly, like, I shouldn't even respond to idiots like him. It's so... I mean, you have to be intentionally stupid. You have to be trying to be stupid to say climate change isn't real at this point. David Cooper says, bias of the media is towards the status quo, which is the corporate coup d'etat of our world. David, have you been reading Chris Hedges' book, America, the Farewell Tour? Because I'm reading it, and that's the exact phrase he used, the corporate coup d'etat. And I hope he doesn't change his mind, but Hedges has agreed to an interview with me. So that's hopefully we're going to record that interview next week. We also, as part of the live stream marathon on Sunday, I hope you show up, noon Eastern time. I will be live for many, many hours for fundraising. I also interviewed Greg Palast, who's an amazing investigative journalist. He broke a lot of news on the election fraud, particularly in Georgia, with Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp. We talked for an hour, so we're going to play that in full on Sunday. He also has quite a lot to say about CNN and Jake Tapper, including revealing some not-so-kind stories about Jake Tapper from 20 years ago. So I look forward to showing you that. But this is scary. I mean, they're talking about increased deaths from heat waves, increased drought, increased storms, crumbling infrastructure. That's really scary. And I'm not trying to like pick on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but I will say this notion, oh, we need a select committee to push the Green New Deal. No, you don't need a committee. I think Ocasio-Cortez and Rashida Tlaib and Bernie and progressives, they need to start rallying the troops outside these politicians who are taking fossil fuel money. And honestly, if you have to, all show up with blood on your hands. The only way that anything is going to change is to shame them and to apply some serious fuel up their assholes. A committee is a bureaucratic tool to research and to bring in experts, blah, blah, blah. We know what's going on here. The experts have spoken. So to even to say we need a committee and this and that, it almost appeases the climate change deniers that more research needs to be done. I think the research that needs to be done is not if it exists, but how bad it is. But that should be in alignment with specific demands. And I say demands. And I say you need an Occupy Wall Street type protest movement, this time with actual leadership, because Occupy pushed forward that there's no leaders. No, you need leadership. Movements don't work without leadership. Sorry. Steven says, can you shame people who literally rent their opinions out to the highest bidder? Well, if you shame them enough that they know they're going to be thrown out of office, yeah. Because you want to know something? Guess what? When they're talking about Midwest crops going to hell, and what did they say? Hold on. When they're talking about by 2050, the scientific forecast changed in rainfall and hotter temperatures will reduce the agricultural productivity of the Midwest to levels last seen in the 1980s. Meaning, Midwest farming, Midwest crops is going to move backwards by 30 years because of drought, because of these storms, because of the heat, because of a lot of different things related to climate change. Guess what? Even Republicans won't like that very much. They might not be against climate change for moralistic reasons. Maybe they're against it for economic reasons, but who the hell cares? Who cares why they're against it? You have conservative Republican farmers in Iowa, in Kansas, in Kentucky, in Ohio, in Michigan. You're going to have a lot of conservative people who can't make a living. And by the way, conservatives can feel when it's hotter too. I mean, where do you live? Because in New York City this summer, it was beyond boiling. You expect it to be hot during the summer. You don't expect with humidity to feel like 110 degrees every day. This is called climate change. Milan Van H. Progressives need to stop hating on each other, though. This ain't about progressives or conservatives or neoliberals. This is about science. So if people claiming to be progressive, which is Nancy Pelosi, are not doing anything, you're damn right I'm going to hate on them. This is not a time, sorry, Milan, to play patty cakes and, kumbaya. Okay? because your children are on the line if you have them. If you have children in this chat, they're on the line. You might, if you're older, you might die before the worst of this. But I'm 32. I plan on sticking around for a while. This is gonna happen and happen. They're talking about agricultural and the heat waves starting in 2050. So I don't give a damn if people claim to be progressive. Let me tell you something. If you want to create a select committee, that's fine. But Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie, Keith Ellis, well, he left. Raul Grijalva, Tulsi Gabbard, progressives. It's time to organize. It's time to bring the grassroots. Because we could protest Wall Street, and we need to. I wish that was still going on. But all the greed and all this, even the rich people are going to be affected by this, folks. And by the way, I cover, and Status Coup covers, more than anyone else. If you can find anyone that covers it more than us, let me know. We cover water contamination and water poisoning, not because, we're thirsty, but because, as far as I know, the number one essential in life is water. You can't go a few days without water. Well, what's going to happen throughout this? Drought, extreme heat, infrastructure problems. You have more contaminated water. And then what happens? We already have enough. We already have contamination issues all over this country. A lot of it being covered up. We just broke a story that we're still working to get some traction. We just broke a story that basically the state of Michigan cooked up the lead levels in Flint to artificially lower them, to pretend that to basically get lower lead levels so they could shut down the water pods that were distributing free water. So they basically flushed all the residents they tested, they flushed their water lines before taking the sample, which is against the EPA's lead and copper rule regulation. So essentially they cooked the data. But my point is, why do you think all these hedge fund people and these wealthy people in New York, one of the biggest things they're investing in? Water. Maybe because they know there's going to be a shortage one day. Maybe because another war could happen over water resources. Listen, I study this. I research this stuff. This is not dramatics. This is real life. There will be a water shortage. So, any apocalyptic movie you've seen lately with the destruction of Earth, we're there, folks. This is not like a couple centuries from now. This is like 50 years from now. Hey, you guys asleep after Thanksgiving dinner? This is a super chat. Come on. And by the way, as a reminder, as I talk about the destruction of the planet, I'm going on vacation to a beach in a few days, so I won't be here. So if you're feeling super for status quo, if you're feeling super for status quo, let us know in the super chat or on GoFundMe. And also, we now have a very, very vibrant membership section. Become a member to Status Coup. Go to statuscoup.com. Click on Become a Member. You'll see my little promo video there, and we have exclusive content for our members. You could be a Status Slayer, $5 a month, or a Coup Day Champion, if you like that alliteration. I have to take credit for both. Got our podcast, behind-the-scenes video diaries. We're going to do a badass members newsletter with stories you didn't even know were going on. We're going to do a monthly video call. There's 2 levels, so if if $5 is within your budget, you could do $5. If $10 is within your budget, do $10. And this is how we're going to grow a sustainable business model on top of sponsorships and other things. So although we're definitely pushing our GoFundMe, we wanted you to know that you could now become a member. If you're a Patreon or if you're a Patreon subscriber already, it doesn't affect you. You could stay a patron. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, definitely consider becoming a member. We've already had, I think we had 7 or 8 people sign up, and this is the actual first time I'm showing you the section. So we'll talk more about that on Sunday's live stream. But part of what we need to do is we need real reporting on climate change. And part of that is we need to get in the fucking face of these fossil fuel companies, and we need to get down to where these pipeline fights are happening. If I could, I would. We don't have the money right now, unfortunately. We're raising money as fast as we can. Part of the money that we've raised already in this GoFundMe has gone to equipment and marketing and advertising resources and other things you need to grow a grassroots independent media network. But we need media Not just to like show up and be like, hey, this side says this side says this. I don't know the truth. Good luck. No, we don't need that kind of media. We need this media to show up with, blaring red lights and a megaphone and be like, you are at risk. These fossil fuel fuckers are killing you and your children. But it is very scary. It is very scary. So I'm going to do follow-up reporting on this probably on Sunday. Again, we're doing our live stream marathon Sunday, so I hope you could show up. Noon Eastern time. I think I'm going to play the interview I did with Greg Palast at 2 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have a good time. And Sunday is a super duper chat. So I hope you show up, and we're going to be raising money in the GoFundMe and the super chat and all things. So we'll have a lot of fun. Now, moving on from the catastrophic climate change, one person that has been serious about climate change and doing something about it has been one Bernard Sanders, and one person that the New York Times, the Washington Post, MSNBC, CNN, and all the usual fuckers have been trying to tear down before he even announces if he's going to run again, is Bernard Sanders. And the latest gem is from the New York Times. Headline: Bernie Sanders, lion of the left, but not the only one roaring. Maybe they came up with that because the new Lion King trailer came out, which, by the way, looks awesome. I can't wait for the new Lion King. Mufasa dying was the first time I remember crying in my life. So, let's see what the New York Times has come up with to smear Bernie. Bernie Sanders could still get a crowd at rallies across the country before the midterms, from South Carolina to Michigan to Nevada. People came to see the Brooklyn timbered senator from Vermont. They rattled the rafters in Wichita, Kansas. They screamed his name in Iowa. Yet, as Mr. Sanders ponders another presidential run, what is not clear is whether he could still get the votes. Oh, it's already ridiculous. It is a question that has taken on new relevance as attention turns to the presidential election 2 years away. While the list of possible Democratic candidates seems to expand every day, political prognosticators have long assumed there would be a Bernie 2.0. But if Mr. Sandys, 77, was a sensation in 2016, electrifying crowds and awakening fervors on the far left, he is no longer a singular figure among Democrats. Outflanked on the left by rising stars like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, and Beto O'Rourke, his stronghold on the party's progressive wing has weakened. I mean, this doesn't even make sense. It's so stupid. Because Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, and Beto O'Rourke have done well and created movements, that means they're diminishing Bernie? Of course it doesn't mean that. They exist in part because of Bernie and what Bernie has done. Many of his key policy positions, including Medicare for All and tuition-free public college, have been embraced by others, a victory for him, he would argue, but one that makes his agenda seem less novel. I mean, I don't even know where to start. Where do you even start with this? So basically the New York Times is saying, because more progressives have ran, because Bernie paved the way for them, and more progressives have won, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ayanna Pressley, Beto was close, as I said. I think you got to take some victory away from only losing by 2 points in Texas. So that weakens Bernie? No, that strengthens Bernie, you fucking elitist douchebag media. Excuse my French. And I get demonetized when I curse, so now you really have to support me. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that they're trying to make it seem like because now there's others who came to Bernie's party that means it's no longer Bernie's party, or because there's others that have come to Bernie's party, including younger people, younger politicians, that means that Bernie doesn't carry the same oomph. Sorry, I get a migraine when reading the New York Times propaganda. I'll read you a little more. If your kids won't fall asleep, this will do it. And while his out-front political presence has kept his name in the mix of 2020 chatter, it has also weakened the anti-establishment appeal he rode to success 2 years ago. Mr. Sanders has not made any official announcement that he is running for president. In an interview with MSNBC last weekend, he said he would make that decision at the appropriate time. Quote, I want to make sure that when I make that decision, if I decide to run, that I have concluded, in fact, that I am the strongest candidate who could defeat Donald Trump, he said. Mr. Sanders exceeded political expectations in 2016. That would be an understatement. Winning roughly 13 million votes in an essentially two-person race against Hillary Clinton, who got 17 million. He prevailed in 23 primaries and caucuses, compared with 34 for her, including wins in New Hampshire, Michigan, and Wisconsin, while struggling in major battlegrounds like Florida, Pennsylvania, and New Jersey. Since when is New Jersey a battleground? But 2020 would be a far different electoral test for Mr. Sanders. He would likely face more rivals and far greater scrutiny, which caused him to stumble at times in 2016. Far greater scrutiny? What more could be thrown at this man? The entire National Democratic Party political establishment? The entire corporate media establishment? What are you gonna throw a murder charge on him too? Oh my God. Like other possible 2020 candidates, Mr. Sanders spent the midterms laying groundworks for a possible run. Before the midterm elections, he campaigned with candidates including Andrew Gillum and Gretchen Whitmer in key battleground states and crisscrossed the country raising money. He has begun introducing new items to his policy agenda, including proposing legislation to end cash bail. After loudly criticizing Amazon earlier this year over its wages and treatments of workers, he is now attacking Walmart on the same issues, burnishing his credentials as champion of the working class. Yeah, you kind of left out that his criticizing of Amazon got the richest man in the world to increase wages for his workers. Small detail. We'll leave that out. New York Times. Advisors and people close to the senator speak as if he plans to run, talking privately about his core message and his proven ability to raise money from individual donors. So I don't need to read the rest. Basically, it's almost like the New York Times is slow. The New York Times is having a slow day, so they were just looking for any damn thing they could find or anything they could contrive on Bernie. So they said, well, there's other progressives now. There's other progressives now in the movement, so that means Bernie has lost steam. No, it means Bernie has gained steam, and that's why other progressives are even able to compete in elections. That's why Medicare for All is now at 70% approval among the American people and probably will be higher by the time he runs. It means that's why 52% of Republicans support Medicare for All. And you want to tell me Hillary Clinton lost Wisconsin and Michigan by a point. I think she lost Pennsylvania by a point or two. You want to tell me that Bernie Sanders, who has always been consistently against these horrific trade deals and has been consistently for strengthening labor unions, who voted against NAFTA, who is against the TPP, who just by breathing emits, I am for the working class, you want to tell me he can't beat Donald Trump in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania? And I think he would compete in Ohio, too. I think he would compete in Florida, too. But this is what the New York Times and the Washington Post are going to do. And now it's only the Bernie hit jobs. Wait for the Kamala Harris profiles and the Kirsten Gillibrand profiles and the Joe Biden, resuscitations. Just wait for it. It's coming. And Jen's in the live chat. She's telling you who wants to become an early founding member today. You are making history. You are literally, I think Zachary Kirkpatrick was the first official paid member to Status Coup. So we're still in the top 10, baby. We are still under 10 members. We haven't promoted it much. We just launched it on the website, but you could become a founding member of Status Coup as soon as today. Just go to statuscoup.com, click on become a member. We're waiting for you. This is how we're going to do it. Sorry. I'm growing out my hair, so it's getting a little itchy. Illustrator Anonymous, I've been seeing a lot of people promoting Harris, WTF. Yeah, of course they're promoting Harris, because then if anyone criticizes her on policy, you're a racist. Oh, you're a misogynist and a sexist. It's a 2-for-1 special. If anyone tackles Kamala Harris for not prosecuting Steve Mnuchin when she was California Attorney General, for some of the money she's taking, because she's not completely clean as far as who she's taking money for, if somebody says, what has Kamala Harris done as a senator? Well, you're racist. You're sexist. It is the golden parachute that all of the Hillbots are going to say. All of the Correct the Record folks, they're going to attack, attack, attack. If you thought it was Bernie bros this time, it's going to be even worse with Kamala Harris. And I think she's slightly better than Hillary Clinton, but she was meeting in the Hamptons last summer with top Hillary Clinton donors. I don't think they were sitting there in the Hamptons talking about how they could push Medicare for all and tighter regulation on Wall Street. Mark Garcia says, if we are a Patreon member, is that the same as registering on the Status Coup website? Great question, Mark. So we don't want to push away Patreon subscribers. If you're a Patreon subscriber to Status Coup right now, feel free to stay a Patreon subscriber. Really, we're just creating membership on our site. So essentially, we don't really want to be reliant. We don't really want to be totally reliant on Patreon, because a lot of these websites have a lot of these websites could go away in 2-3 years. You never know. So we wanted to create a system through our site for membership. So we're not getting rid of Patreon. I think we have like 385 patrons. We're still going to be uploading content to patrons to Status Coup. We're just creating membership. So basically, if you're a patron and want to stay a Patreon, stay right there. If you're not a Patreon subscriber, become a member on our website. So 2 things. Jen, did I explain that right? And the other thing is that I don't understand, and Jay LeBlanc said it. So they're saying because there's going to be a crowded field, it's going to be a tougher time for Bernie. No, Bernie has more name recognition than anybody, maybe but Joe Biden. So Bernie now has the name recognition that he didn't have before. So I don't know many capital P progressives in this country that are going to vote for Kamala Harris over Bernie Sanders, or vote for Kirsten Gillibrand over Bernie Sanders, or vote for even Elizabeth Warren over Bernie Sanders. True Berners, old and young, if Bernie runs, is going to vote for Bernie. And I don't have any reporting on this. I don't have any reason for saying this other than my gut. But I think Bernie Sanders would pledge to serve 1 term, which I believe eliminates the age issue. He's not young, but I mean, people live longer these days. Jimmy Carter's, I think, 95. And I think he would have a young person as his vice president if, God forbid, something happened. Meg just donated $50 on the GoFundMe. Thanks so much, Meg, with a comment. Let's see what Meg left us. She said, happy holiday. Thank you for the $50. Yes, I know we're telling you about membership now, but also this GoFundMe is super, super important that we keep the GoFundMe going. So I hope people show up on Sunday. We're not doing this for our health, folks. We are doing this to raise money for Status Coup. We are doing this to hire new people down the road. We are doing this to get enough money to go report in the field and stay in the field. We are most importantly doing this so we don't have to sit and bow down to special interests and to current corporate media entities. We don't want to go begging for money from people that are not aligned with our vision, because I don't like sellouts and we're not going to become sellouts. So that's the deal. And it's not uploading, but she just left us $50, so we're now at 21,700 something. So who knows? Maybe we could get to 22,000 by the end of this live stream. Do you believe in miracles? It is the Christmas season now. If I have to sing holiday jingles to raise funds, I certainly will. Maybe I'll even twerk this Sunday while singing holiday jingles. And by the way, this age thing is total bullshit, all right? Trump is 73 or 74. So what? I mean, he shouldn't be president for a lot of other reasons, having nothing to do with age. Okay, Ronald Reagan was old. Oh, I am Jewish, so maybe I'll do a little Hanukkah twerk. They did call me the Hebrew Hammer back in my college days. But this notion that, oh, there's younger progressives that can run. This is from a media. They don't care that Bernie Sanders is older. They care that Bernie Sanders, even one term of Bernie Sanders, could honestly take a real machete to the capitalist system. Because Bernie Sanders might say he's okay with capitalism. His policies would take a very big machete to the capitalist system in this country. A much needed machete. Because as Chris Hedges writes in his book, we are in the late stages and we are in the death spiral of capitalism. Okay, those $50, $21,724. That's where we're at now. So keep us going on the GoFundMe, keep us going on the Super Chat, and become a member if you can. We really, really want to grow our monthly membership. So like we said, you could stay a Patreon subscriber if you'd like, if you're already a Status Coup patron. If you're not a patron, consider membership. You'll like. Me and Ty just recorded a podcast. We just recorded a podcast. It was over an hour, so I'm going to play a lot of it on Sunday. I'm not going to play the whole thing. The whole thing is for Patreon subscribers and members to the site. But towards the end, we do get into our holiday blues. I did get into my holiday loneliness. I'm a little lonely. I'm not going to lie. I don't have anyone. I have an empty apartment, my live stream, my dogs with my parents. Very lonely. No mistletoe. Very lonely these days. No, I really am lonely. We're going to talk about it on the podcast. You know, the holiday season, it's just lonely. I mean, in New York, I don't know where you live. It was getting like dark out at 4:30 today. It's too dark. I don't like it. All my friends are married. Now they're having babies. Mitch, me too, Jordan. Single for 7 years. Maybe I'll start making agreements with fans and supporters that if I'm not married by like 35, we could all have a, polygamous. Just kidding. Oh my God. You should see through the screen Jen blushing. Because Jen doesn't like it when I talk like this. She doesn't like it. She says she thinks I say too much and I'm too TMI, and she's probably right. Paul says, Jordan, it is very lonely these days. I know, Paul. I mean, how much Netflix can one watch? After a while, you're just kind of lonely. And dating sucks. Who wants to date? Ugh. Anyway, back on track. We're not going to play the whole podcast because we want to tease you. We're going to play some of the podcast, and then you could get the rest of the podcast if you become a member or, Patreon subscribers get our podcast already. But I hope that together we could get through the holiday season. Dan says, corporate Democrat logic, Bernie is too old, but Nancy Pelosi is the perfect age for speaker. Hey, Dan A., where's your YouTube channel? I couldn't have said it better. David says, keep it TMI. Holidays are so lonely. They really are. Like I was at Thanksgiving yesterday at my sister-in-law's family's house, and I think I was the only single person there. And on one end, I was looking at the couples that were there, and I'm not so jealous because they're kind of dysfunctional, and you could tell one or both of them are kind of miserable. But on the other end, it's like it would be nice to have somebody, Illustrator Anonymous, I'm depressed now, LOL. Oh, sorry, I'm not trying to depress people. I'm just keeping it real. Jay LeBlanc, my Christmas plans are pizza and getting high. Probably a couple of calls and video games or something. That sounds pretty good. That sounds pretty damn good, actually. Zolik. Yeah, Zaxalik. You showed up 45 minutes late. I already talked about that. We're going to talk about it some more on Sunday during our Sunday live stream super duper marathon. Noon Eastern time. Be there or piss off. Darth Corey. I like being single. I do have cats, though. You see, I can't have dogs where I live. I think I'd feel a lot better if I had dogs. But I can't have a dog where I live, unfortunately. Ay. So, I will continue reporting to you about all of Bernie Sanders smear jobs, hit jobs, and all those things. Because somebody has to do it. Somebody has, if Bernie Sanders, just like I criticized Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez the other day, I think it's ridiculous that she's saying Nancy Pelosi is more progressive than the other candidates. They're all conservative. I don't know where she's getting this idea that Nancy Pelosi is more progressive than these other candidates. They are all conservative. But I will call out Bernie when that needs to happen, and if he's doing something critical. But Bernie should win or lose on the merits and on the policies. If he has, the corporate media is not in business to inform you. The corporate media is not in business to tell the truth. They are arrogant, wealthy elitists who live in a New York and a DC bubble. And Bernie Sanders is a threat to them. Bernie Sanders is a threat. And that's why they have to smear him. That's why they're pushing these nonsensical... That New York Times thing I read to you, it's nonsensical. They're saying Bernie Sanders has lost his authority or power, or will he get the votes? He's the most fucking popular politician in America right now. Will he get the votes? Medicare for all is at 70%. You think Bernie Sanders had something to do with it? Duh. Ooh, Mark Garcia. Mark Garcia just signed up as a member to Status Coup. He is now a status slayer at $5 a month. Glad to have you on board, Mark. Thanks for joining. These are the early days. These are the early days. So if you're not a member, I hope you could fold us into your budget. Fold us into your budget. You could become a member at $5, the status slayer level, or you can become a member at $10, the coup de champion level. I came up with these. I stayed up all night coming up with these terms, so Jen's were very boring. Jen's ideas were very boring, I have to say. So I was going to do a Hillary Clinton story today, because since I'm lonely, that would make me happy, but I'm going to save it for Sunday's marathon, because Hillary Clinton made two statements that are just so Hillary and so ridiculous. One about that basically to curb extremist right-wing fascism or populism in Europe, they should stop accepting immigrants. So basically, let's surrender to the fascists and the racists. Let's surrender to that by basically giving them what they want. You wonder why this woman didn't become president? What an inspiring message that is. Oh, right-wing populism and fascism is growing, and racism is growing in Europe and around the world. Let's give them what they want. So leave the refugees and those people to the side. We can't accept them because we're going to have more crazy right-wing populists. No. But I'm going to save that because there's more to it, and I want to get some more facts. So I'm going to report on that Sunday. We have a lot to report on Sunday. As an additional teaser, if you came here late, I have an hour-long interview with an amazing investigative reporter, Greg Palast. He's going to take you through every last detail about the election fraud and theft that went on in Georgia with Stacey Abrams and Brian Kemp. He also found election fraud and voter suppression and voter purges in Nebraska, Indiana, Las Vegas, Illinois, and somewhere else that is escaping me right now. So we're going to talk about that. He also has quite a lot to say about the corporate media and Jake Tapper, who was actually Jake Tapper 20 years ago, was Greg Palast's assistant. Go figure. So a lot going on. And I'm going to have other stories and also play to you part of the podcast Ty and I did today, which kind of went off the rails, which was kind of fun. And we'll have some other stuff. I'm actually spending most of my Saturday preparing for my Sunday marathon. So I'm doing the work. I hope you'll show up on Sunday at noon Eastern. I might be live till I go to bed. I might be live starting Sunday at noon till I go to bed. My live stream record is 7.5 hours, so I'm going to see if I can break that. But it depends how many people show up, and it depends how many people contribute, because we're doing it. I'm not doing it for my health. I wouldn't mind a day off. I'm doing it to raise more money for Status Coup. We're at 21,724 on our GoFundMe. And like I said, we've just launched our membership section on our website, which is our long-term business model, paid membership by monthly membership. So I really hope everybody can, before you go holiday shopping, I hope you could budget in either a GoFundMe contribution or become a member. And like I said, if you're already a Patreon subscriber to Status Coup, you don't have to do a thing. We're not getting rid of Patreon. We're just launching our member section on our website because we'd rather have everything on our website if one day Patreon changes or something happens with it. We've seen with YouTube, with Facebook, with Twitter, you never want to be at the mercy of other sites. You really don't. You want to own your own stuff. So we want to have our own membership platform, and that's that. So we got 10 minutes left before I was going to end. I figured I'd do a little Thanksgiving Q&A. Oh my God, I forgot to show you. I forgot. Holy cow, I forgot to show you. Here's a tease. So on Sunday, I am going to go through the biggest turkeys of the year. So I hope you have more room for turkey. I hope you didn't have all of a turkey Thanksgiving. I'll give you a little tease what it looks like. Stick with me for a second. Turkey. The screen might go blank for 1 second. Hold on. You're going to like this, though. What will be, will be. Oh, no. Where'd the turkey go? Hold on. Why? Where are you, Rachel Maddow? Oh, here you are. So we are going to go through the top turkeys of the year. Here's a tease. We had one of our editors set up these fantastic images. We have many more turkeys. We're going to go through each one of them one by one and explain why they are the turkeys of 2018. It's going to be epic. So you better gobble gobble. You better show up and gobble gobble. Who's your top turkey of the year? We got Rachel Maddow. I don't want to give it all away. So I'm not going to tell you. Who the other ones are. But, oh man, is that priceless? Edward, I'm not going to read that, but that's an interesting comment. So, bring your stuffing. Bring your cranberry sauce. Bring your sweet potato marshmallow pie. Bring your gravy. Bring your righteous indignation. Bring your money, because we're trying to raise some money. We're going to go through the turkeys of the year. We're going to play original interviews with Greg Palast. We're going to play our podcast. We're going to do a lot of things. It's going to be fantastic. So before I go, anybody want to share any Thanksgiving stories, ask any questions, comments, concerns, super chat? Feel free. I'll read the super chat messages first, of course. Going once. I'm surprised we got this high of an audience on the day after Thanksgiving. That's encouraging. That is encouraging. Edward Mad Cow looks like KD Lang's mom. I don't know who KD Lang is. Jay LeBlanc, maybe comb over some of the feathers. Well, I didn't make the image. That was Colin. I'll give him your constructive criticism. Mitch, Canada's is done. So is America's. Thanksgiving is past. We're just going to have a little extended turkey time on Sunday. Dan A, make sure that the Trump turkey doesn't have a big tail because only male turkeys put on that display. It would be way too easy. It would be way too easy and unoriginal to make Trump a turkey. I mean, Trump's a turkey every day, so I didn't make Trump one of the turkeys. I would say Trump is more of a chicken than a turkey, personally. You hear he won't even go visit the troops because he's afraid? The everyday progressive, I'm still stuffed from all I ate. Then you need to take a little time between tonight and Sunday, digest everything, because I've got more turkeys for you on Sunday, everyday progressive. There's more turkey coming. I don't have utensils, though. You're going to have to bring those. Stephen Mnuchin, he's certainly a turkey. Every morning, Trump goes to the bathroom, closes the door, and starts singing, "We shall overcome." Oh, my God. Because he probably thinks the rich are under attack in America. That's why. Third, fourth, and fifth. Joe, good ad lib, Jordan. Why, thank you. Mitch Devi, does your potential mate have to be politically savvy? I don't really want to do like dating ads on YouTube. So, they don't need to be like a political wizard, but definitely curious about the world. Let's say that. Rachel Maddow, Mayo on the side. Oh, God. Tim says, Biden gets my turkey award for presenting George Bush to... Oh, my God, I forgot Biden is a turkey. Oh, I might have to tell... I might need to tell Colin to add Biden. He's going to be so... Colin made these turkeys for me on Thanksgiving, no less. He's a real champion. But we're going to have some fun. Because these people, a lot of them are actually dangerous and spreading dangerous propaganda. But they're the definition of turkeys. They're overstuffed. They're bloated. Is Palin a turkey? Palin's something, but I wouldn't say a turkey. I can't say what I think of Sarah Palin on this family YouTube show. Make Trump a turkey turd so it's more original. Okay. Interesting. All right, folks. I've had a great time. As a reminder, Jen put it in one more time. We do have now our membership section on the site. I hope after I shut down here, go right now to the membership section on statuscoup.com and consider becoming a member. That is what is going to sustain us long term. Of course, we're trying to raise money for GoFundMe. That is definitely for seed money for the company. We want seed money to get out in the field, to get additional equipment. There's a lot of monthly subscriptions we need for marketing, advertising, putting in freedom of information requests. There's a lot of things behind the scenes that we need funding for. But if you want to become a member at $5 a month or $10 a month, we hope you could find it in your budget to contribute to us. If you can't, as always, share our streams. We understand it's not everybody has the money, so if you can't, share these videos. Make sure you click on all notifications on YouTube. Click the bell and then click all notifications, because YouTube is not alerting everyone when I'm live or when Ty's live, or eventually when Jen is going live, which is very frustrating because we work hard and unfortunately, they are not sharing everything. And you probably haven't gotten notifications when every new video is up. So definitely go to the homepage and click on videos, check out the videos, because we have a lot of videos going up and we have more that haven't gone up yet. So thank you. And I look forward to seeing you this Sunday. Again, Sunday, Super Duper Chat Sunday. It's for the Super Chat, and it's for raising our GoFundMe money. Our GoFundMe right now is at same amount, $21,724. So you got 3 menus: GoFundMe, membership, Super Chat. I hope everybody could find it within them somehow. And if you can't, definitely tell your friends and family about Status Coup and real journalism. It's so needed, which I think you'll see during my interview with Greg Palast. Thank you for watching, everybody, and have a great night.